he's found the line. That's unbelievable.
Oh, everyone knew it was coming. And it's a...
Oh, wow.
Dominic Thiem, the charismatic, blonde-haired young man of European tennis, once defeated Federer, took down Nadal, and made Djokovic's hand tremble in a Grand Slam final as if destiny were calling a new king. Yet, just 3 years later, the left wrist that had propelled him to the top of the world suffered a horrific injury. This setback caused Thiem to vanish from all rankings and even led to him not being invited to Roland Garros, a place where he was once considered the Prince of Clay. But Dominic Thiem did not surrender to fate. Instead of giving up, he retreated to his classic villa in the town of Lichtenwerth, where every morning he wakes up to see his private tennis court nestled amidst a rose garden. He still steps out of his personalized luxury car and still appears alongside Lily Paul Roncalli, the heiress of the world-renowned Roncalli circus empire. This isn't just a story about a tennis player overcoming an injury. This is the journey of a person once forgotten, yet still living amidst the limelight, luxury cars, and famous romances. Let's delve into the life of Dominic Thiem, once regarded as the Prince of European tennis. Childhood programmed like a robot. Dominic Thiem was born on September 3, 1993 in Wiener Neustadt, a town just 30 miles from Austria's capital, Vienna. He grew up in Lichtenwerth, a small industrial area in eastern Austria, where winter mornings were often foggy, and the sound of tennis balls hitting a wall became a familiar soundtrack throughout his childhood. The Thiem family didn't just live for tennis, they breathed it. His father, Wolfgang Thiem, was a renowned coach at the Günter Bresnik Academy. His mother, Birgit, was also a professional coach. Even his younger brother, Moritz, later pursued a career in tennis in that household. Every conversation, from mealtime to bedtime, revolved around forehands, footwork, and international tournament schedules. Dominic didn't come to tennis with grand dreams, but rather with tiny, diaper-clad feet shuffling around the practice courts where his parents worked. Old photos show the blonde-haired boy toddling after balls with a toy racket, a pacifier in his mouth. From the age of 3, Dominic's father meticulously coached his every movement, no matter how small. Yet, despite being born into a family with a tennis legacy, Dominic wasn't coddled like a pampered prince. He was rigorously trained in both physicality and discipline, waking up early to run before school, and never allowed to throw his racket or complain, even when exhausted. On the court, there was no room for weakness. There were practice sessions where he cried because his hands were numb with cold, but he still had to complete 200 ball throws. The biggest turning point came when Thiem was 9 years old. Günter Bresnik, a coach who had mentored Boris Becker and one of the most influential figures in European tennis coaching, saw Dominic and decided to take him on for long-term training. But he set a condition: Dominic had to abandon his instinctive, creative playing style and adopt a standard ATP style, precise down to every footstep. From then on, the boy embarked on a truly rigorous training journey, 6 hours a day, 6 days a week, in the biting cold of the Austrian winter. Once, Bresnik made Thiem practice hitting balls on a gravel court with no net. No opponent, just to hone his feel for controlling the ball's trajectory. Every shot had to be clean and precise, as if programmed. One wrong move, and he had to start over. At school, Thiem wasn't a standout student. His thin frame, messy blonde hair, and frequent absences for tournaments made him an easy target for teasing. Dominic once said, "Throughout 4 years of middle school, I only had one friend." While his peers gathered for birthdays, played video games, and went skiing, he had to train, study in the car, or run in the park with a heavy backpack. Some nights, Dominic would fall asleep while reviewing opponent videos on his laptop. These were years without parties, without a proper childhood, but in return, he learned endurance and developed faith in the future. At 14, Dominic traveled to the US for the first time to play an ITF junior tournament in Florida. He was eliminated in the first round, but for him, it was the first time he got to sleep in his own hotel room, eat an American burger, and speak English with peers his age. He called the trip a mild culture shock, enough to realize that if he wanted to become a professional tennis player, he had to step out of Austria, out of his comfort zone. Even as a child, Dominic had peculiar habits. He always lined up his socks perfectly, sorted tennis balls by color, and couldn't stand a sagging net. He disliked spontaneity, demanding everything to be straight, neat, and logical. Some say this is what made Thiem's playing style mechanical, lacking the street personality of his peers. But for Dominic, precision was his guiding principle from his habits and lifestyle to every single shot. And it was precisely this quality that forged a resilient, tenacious Thiem, like a machine born from the gravel of Austria. And from that same gravel, the diaper-clad boy grew up to become one of the most tenacious players the ATP Next Gen has ever produced. From challenger of the Big Four to a farewell at home. In 2011, when Dominic Thiem officially turned professional at 18, he immediately made a strange impression. Amidst an ATP generation full of two-handed backhands, Thiem emerged with a powerful one-handed backhand, a classic weapon that audiences thought had vanished since the days of Wawrinka and Federer. He made his ATP Tour debut at the Vienna Open in his hometown, and despite losing to Steve Darcis in the first round, the young Austrian's fiery, net-burning playing style amazed the crowd. In 2013, he was chosen as Novak Djokovic's hitting partner at Roland Garros and ended up irritating the then world number one because he couldn't return the tricky shots from the young Austrian. From 2014 to 2016, Dominic Thiem entered a period of true breakthrough. He reached the fourth round of the US Open for the first time in 2014, ending the season in the world's top 40. A year later, Thiem won 3 ATP titles, and by 2016, his victory over Federer in Stuttgart and a semifinal appearance at Roland Garros officially propelled him into the ATP top 10. At a time when the Big Four seemed to utterly dominate the tennis world, Dominic Thiem was a breath of fresh air, a player who even made Federer exclaim, "He has everything a champion needs: power, patience, and eyes as cold as steel." The period from 2017-2020 marked the peak of Thiem's career. He became a true force on clay courts, a brutal surface that only the most resilient players could endure. In 2017, Thiem defeated Rafael Nadal himself in Rome, a feat few had ever achieved. In 2018 and 2019, he consecutively reached the Roland Garros finals, only to be defeated by King Nadal after thrilling encounters. People called him Prince of Clay, a recognition that if not for Nadal, Thiem would have been the ruler of this surface. But the greatest pinnacle of Thiem's career was undoubtedly the 2020 US Open. After 2 Grand Slam final losses, Thiem this time came back from being 2 sets down against Alexander Zverev to claim the title in a final that stretched to a 5th-set tiebreak. It was the first US Open final since 1949 where the winner came from 2 sets down. Thiem also became the first male player born in the 1990s to win a Grand Slam, surpassing Medvedev, Tsitsipas, and Zverev. Not long after, he climbed to world number 3, his highest career ranking. However, fortune did not favor the Prince of Clay for long. In June 2021 at the Mallorca Open, in what seemed like a harmless situation, Thiem suffered a torn ligament in his right wrist. The wrist that was once the pride of his playing style suddenly became the death knell of his career. After nearly 10 months away from the court, Thiem returned but was no longer himself. His one-handed backhand lost its precision, and his feel for the ball vanished. From 2023, he was consistently eliminated early, lacked enough points to enter Grand Slams, and plummeted out of the ATP Top 300. In an interview, Thiem shared, "The wrist is where the mind connects to the body. If it betrays you, you lose your entire identity." It wasn't just a physical injury, but a shattering of confidence. In May 2024, Dominic Thiem announced his retirement at the end of the year. In a simple and decisive statement, he said his body could no longer endure. In October 2024, at the Erste Bank Open, the very place where he debuted on the ATP Tour 13 years prior, Thiem lost to Luciano Darderi in the first round. When the match ended, the crowd in Vienna did not leave their seats. They stood and applauded for 4 minutes, as a way to bid farewell to the son of Austria who had once broken the untouchable boundaries of the Big Three. In the stands, his mother quietly wiped away tears. Not everyone ends their career in glory. But for Thiem, what remained was respect, something not easily earned in a brutal world like the ATP Tour. The peculiar choice of a tennis millionaire. As of 2025, Dominic Thiem has earned approximately $30.3 million in prize money from ATP tournaments and Grand Slams, with an estimated net worth of around $14 million. This figure reflects a steady accumulation of wealth, not only from his resounding victories, but also from his strategic choices in partnering with brands that align with his life philosophy. Dominic Thiem is one of the few top athletes in the world who opted for a modest lifestyle. In an era where the image of a sports star is often associated with lavish mansions, million-dollar supercars, and expensive vacations, while many of his peers chose Monaco for tax benefits or Miami for year-round sunshine, Thiem remained committed to his hometown of Lichtenvoort. This is not just a residence, it's a clear statement of a lifestyle rooted in his origins, imbued with childhood memories and family values. Lichtenvoort is where Thiem was born and raised, where he first picked up a racket under the guidance of his parents. This place witnessed the first steps on his journey to the pinnacle of world tennis. When his career offered him the opportunity to live anywhere, he still returned here. The family's current home was purchased around 2017 for nearly $1 million, a modest sum compared to the infamy of a Grand Slam champion. But its sentimental value is immeasurable. The house is designed in traditional Austrian architecture, blending seamlessly with the quiet residential area, where people live closely and friendly. Tree-lined paths abound, and a cozy atmosphere permeates everywhere. A unique feature within the property is the tennis court right in the garden. This was where Thiem often went during his off-season breaks, not to train under performance pressure, but to rediscover a familiar feeling, like an artist returning to a beloved piece of music. The garden around the house is meticulously cared for daily by his mother. With roses, herbs, and many native plants of Lower Austria, the space here retains a peaceful, authentic charm that many high-end resorts might struggle to replicate. Thiem has never sought attention by owning mansions in Mallorca or apartments in Monte Carlo. After every major victory from the 2020 US Open title to other Grand Slam finals, his familiar destination remained Lichtenvoort, where his old room and childhood possessions awaited. In an interview with Tennis Head, Thiem shared, "Just walking into my bedroom, going to the tennis court in the garden, and talking with my parents, I feel relieved as if I had never had to strain myself in big tournaments." For him, that is a true homecoming where he lives authentically, without pretense or showiness, simply as a son in a family and a dedicated tennis player. This humble mindset is also reflected in Thiem's car choices. According to sources like Sportskita and Sporting Lad, he owns a Ford for his daily commuting needs, along with a Range Rover, an SUV suitable for Austria's often snowy conditions. The Range Rover Sport Thiem uses was delivered at the Autostall dealership in Vienna, offering a balance of comfort, durability, and stable performance in cold climates. In 2023, Thiem also participated in BMW Austria's Winter Technic Drive event, where he received a BMW i4 M50, a brand new all-electric sedan, as part of a brand partnership. However, this car appeared only as part of a sponsorship program and was not a long-term addition to his personal collection. For Thiem, cars are simply a means of daily transport, not symbols of status or personal image. The brands that have partnered with Thiem largely reflect his philosophy of sustainable, practical living, far from the dazzling limelight. From 2015 to 2018, he was an ambassador for Kia Motors Austria, a partnership focused on utility and sustainability. He then went on to become the face of Bank Austria from 2017 and the bathroom ceramics brand Duravit from 2020. While these brands may not often make headlines, they perfectly align with the image of a calm, steadfast, and reliable Dominic Thiem. In the world of sports, where glitz is often equated with success, Thiem chose to live contrarily. His quiet home in Lichtenvoort, the tennis court in his garden, his practical SUV, and his understated brand partnerships all reflect the consistency in his lifestyle and personal values. He doesn't try to be a paragon of simplicity, nor does he criticize those who live lavishly. He simply lives according to what he believes is right. Emotional pillars that kept him standing. Dominic Thiem is not the type of player who enjoys flaunting his private life. However, throughout his roller coaster career, marked by highs and lows, he experienced two significant relationships, one from the world of tennis and one from the circus. Each woman who entered his life left a profound mark. Thiem's first well-known relationship began in 2017 with Kristina Mladenovic, the French tennis player known for her classic beauty and bold playing style. The couple publicly confirmed their relationship at the ATP Finals in London that November, appearing together like a true celebrity couple of the tennis world. They attended tournaments together, appeared backstage, and were closely followed by the sports media as if they were an integral part of the tour. But the glamour couldn't hide the stressful reality of constant travel, demanding training schedules, and performance pressure. By November 2019, they decided to break up. The reason given, not enough time and commitment. Later, Dominic candidly shared that he was no longer looking for a new relationship, though he wasn't closing the door to the future either. But then, in October 2020, that future came knocking in an unexpected form. Lily Paul Roncalli, a German circus artist, winner of the TV show Let's Dance 2020 and daughter of the founder of the legendary Circus Roncalli. They first met in Vienna, at a time when Dominic had recently broken up and was going through one of the most difficult periods of his career. A photo of them walking together quickly went viral on social media, marking the beginning of a relationship that felt more romantic and artistic than any tennis story before it. No longer two tennis players competing with training schedules and tournaments. Dominic and Lily belonged to two different worlds, sports and performing arts, but shared a common dynamic lifestyle, a whirlwind schedule, and a strong belief in privacy. Despite their busy lives, they always made the most of their time together, from short vacations to major events. Lily often appeared with Thiem on important occasions, especially at his farewell ceremony in Kitzbühel in 2024, where they exchanged a silent glance amidst thousands of spectators. Like an emotional farewell to his playing career. Without much talk, without ostentatious couple photos on social media, Thiem and Lily maintained a quiet style of love, just like Dominic's own demeanor since he stepped onto the ATP Tour, cautious, discreet, yet profoundly deep. Looking back at his journey, Dominic Thiem experienced two distinct relationships during two different phases of his career. Kristina, who accompanied him during his professional peak, and Lily, who served as an emotional anchor when he withdrew from the limelight. And between these two women, there was a rare commonality. Both understood that love with Thiem didn't need to be loud. It only needed to be sincere enough to endure through the years, and gentle enough to quietly appear at crucial moments, like when Lily held his hand as he walked onto the court for the last time in his playing career. In love, just like in tennis, Thiem was never superficial. Fractured relationship with childhood coach. In the public eye, Dominic Thiem is a typical Austrian gentleman, polite, reserved, respectful of his opponents, and never one to cause a fuss. But that doesn't mean he always stays silent. When things cross a line, Thiem can react not with harsh words, but with surprising directness and a cool demeanor. One of the most controversial moments of his career occurred at the 2019 Roland Garros. After qualifying for the fourth round, Thiem was giving a press conference when he was asked to leave the room to make way for Serena Williams. She had just lost her match and requested to speak immediately. The incident caused widespread indignation. The male player who had just won was asked to stop, to prioritize someone who had just lost simply because the other person was more famous. Although the tournament organizers later explained that it was a rescheduling to avoid conflicts, the image of Thiem walking out with a puzzled and displeased look spread widely in the media. The incident quickly divided public opinion. One side supported Thiem, believing he was disrespected, while the other considered his reaction unnecessary. Not long after, another controversy erupted, this time not on the court, but stemming from his relationship with his longtime coach, Günter Bresnik. After nearly 17 years together, Thiem ended his collaboration with a mentor who had coached him since childhood. The parting was not amicable. Austrian media reported tense statements from both sides. Bresnik claimed he had suffered losses after the event, while Thiem's family made no secret of their dissatisfaction. Although Thiem did not directly criticize anyone publicly, His absolute silence during the media frenzy was also seen as a clear move. He didn't want to prolong the conflict, but he also didn't stand by his old side anymore. The final major controversy of his career came in 2024 when Roland Garros did not grant Thiem a wildcard for the main draw. This was one of the most heavily criticized decisions in the tennis community, as he had reached the finals of this tournament twice and was in the final stages of his career. Although many argued that the organizers showed a lack of respect for a player who had contributed so much to the tournament, Thiem chose a gentle response. He entered the qualifiers, fought until the final match, and only briefly told the press that he understood the decision. Though he felt sad, there was no call for justice, no retaliatory actions, just a man accepting reality but not forgetting to maintain his dignity. However, these clashes did not tarnish Thiem's image in the eyes of his fans. On the contrary, his measured reactions, neither servile nor excessively explosive, earned him greater public respect in an increasingly noisy sports world, where sensational statements attract more media attention than persistent action. Thiem's calm demeanor and quiet defiance felt like his own declaration. Dominic Thiem may have lost many matches and may not have won as many titles as expected. But if there's one thing he never lost, it's the ability to retreat without crumbling, to resist without losing control, and to keep himself intact even amidst conflicts. Immense contributions to nature. For many tennis players, a Grand Slam is a dream pinnacle, but for Dominic Thiem, the 2020 US Open trophy wasn't everything. As the stadium lights faded and the applause subsided, he embarked on a new journey, a game even bigger than tennis, bringing positive change to the world in his own way. While many stars get caught in the whirlwind of fame, Thiem chose to return to the simplest thing: his love for nature. He didn't just talk the talk, he actively got his hands dirty. With the organization 4Ocean, he rolled up his sleeves and picked up plastic bottles and trash bags on beaches in Austria and the Mediterranean. There were no grandstands or spotlights, just a man quietly cleaning up what others left behind, because he believed every piece of trash picked up was a step towards protecting the ocean. Thiem's love for nature goes even further. He became an ambassador for a campaign to protect bees, the tiny heroes of the ecosystem. In Burgenland, where he grew up, Thiem worked with scientists to guide farmers on bee-friendly cultivation methods. The image of the tennis player who once defeated Federer and Nadal standing in a field, gently holding a beehive, made people understand that true strength lies not just in powerful shots, but in caring for the smallest things. Beyond the environment, Thiem is also dedicated to education. He opened the Thiem Academy Burgenland not only to teach tennis, but also to inspire children to live positively and pursue their dreams. In the afternoon sun, you might find Thiem sitting on the court, like an older brother, patiently correcting a child's swing, then chatting like a friend. Thiem also initiated the Thiem Energy Project, encouraging Austrians to use renewable energy. He worked with engineers to bring solar panels to residential areas. No longer the image of a clay court star, Thiem is now a dedicated Burgenland resident, living simply as if he had never touched glory. These efforts earned Thiem the Arthur Ashe Humanitarian Award in 2024, a significant honor for tennis players who make social contributions. But even when standing on the podium to accept the award, he didn't say much. For Thiem, the most meaningful things don't need eloquent words. They are created by silent actions. Seeking inner peace. Right after retiring, Dominic Thiem candidly shared that he has no desire to become a tennis coach. "I'm genuinely tired of the constant travel," he chuckled, speaking with a rare sincerity in the world of sports, where people are often encouraged to always appear strong. Thiem humbly admitted that there are many coaches more talented than him, and he didn't want to just go through the motions. Instead, he chose a more meaningful path, establishing the Thiem Academy in his home country of Austria. This is a place where young tennis players aged 15 to 21 don't just learn how to hit a ball, but also how to grow as individuals. For Thiem, this is the most fragile stage for an athlete when they stand between dreams and reality, between passion and pressure. He doesn't just want to stand on the sidelines giving instructions. He wants to be a guide, helping the younger generation overcome unseen challenges. Most surprisingly, Thiem has ventured into a completely different field, renewable energy. Just as he faced Nadal on the clay court, patient, intelligent, and determined, Thiem embarked on 2 green projects. He stated, "This is also a competition where you're not allowed to give up." Solar panels, energy-saving systems, and green living solutions are gradually appearing in Bergland, serving as a quiet testament to a champion. Thiem also doesn't shy away from sharing his simple desire to live peacefully in his hometown. After 2 decades of traveling the world, he yearns for quiet mornings with a cup of coffee, cozy dinners with family, and weekends without packing suitcases. These are things his youth never afforded him. But Thiem isn't just about enjoying life. He speaks out directly on social media. "The way we play tennis nowadays isn't healthy. Injuries are inevitable." These words from someone who lived within that demanding cycle serve as a wake-up call. Thiem doesn't just want to teach hitting balls, he also wants to help young players understand their own limits so they compete as humans, not machines. Moving forward, Thiem plans to expand his environmental protection activities and support for Austrian youth. He is an ambassador for WWF and For Ocean, contributes to the Parley by Adidas campaign, and even acts as a godfather to pandas and koalas at the Vienna Zoo. Perhaps Thiem's greatest victory is living authentically, not chasing stereotypes or clinging to past glory. He was once a player who kept the big 3 on their toes, but now he chooses peace, a choice not everyone is brave enough to pursue. Dominic Thiem hasn't chosen a path of prolonged glory, nor does he cling to the spotlight. He withdrew while everything remained intact: his career, his character, and his passion. From a tennis prodigy to a Grand Slam champion, from the peak of fame to green projects outside the court, Thiem is redefining success not by how many matches he wins, but by how much of his original self he retains after the game. And that is the life he has chosen quietly, steadily, and with full intent. We are not responsible if you misunderstand or misapply this content. Please consider, verify, and selectively interpret the information. Like what you see, give us a like, comment, share, or subscribe to our channel. That's the fuel that keeps us telling more peak stories about other tennis superstars.